review of the week. Okay, so we are now going to officially start doing standard reviews every week of something that everybody on the podcast has experienced, so we can give you our full opinions. This week, it's none other than Gerald's favorite movie of the summer, probably.
This is my most anticipated movie of the summer.
Well, tell them what it is first.
Just barely above Civil War.
And that is?
Independence Day Resurgence.
Okay, so I just
Welcome to Earth.
No Will Smith, though. No. So what we're going to do here is let's just talk about what the movie is, in case people for some reason live under a rock and only listen to our podcast.
What do you want to do? The standard?
No, we'll do that after we talk about what the movie is, and then we'll talk about we'll give a non-spoiler, and then we'll do like a 5-minute thing of spoilers, so you can move forward if you haven't seen the movie yet. Okay, so first, it's a sequel to the original
Independence Day, and
it takes place 20 years after, which is exactly 20 years after from when that movie came out.
From the War of 96. They mentioned numerous times.
So this movie loves its original movie. It definitely plays a lot of callbacks. Yeah, a lot of callbacks. And we talked about this, I think, on a TV episode that we did on the podcast, where I do enjoy that when the time between the two properties or whatever movies or television shows is the same timeline in real life. That's super cool.
It is, yeah.
And they've been talking about making an Independence Day 2 forever. I've heard about that
It's been a long time. Emmerich said that he didn't originally plan the first to have a sequel. It kind of wraps up pretty well.
Yeah, of course. Well, we beat the aliens.
Exactly.
Right.
If you haven't seen it, spoiler alert, we won. But he never wanted to do a sequel, but of course it's like, I mean, it's money, obviously.
Well, yeah.
So
exactly.
But he's like, I'll do a sequel when it feels right, when I have the right story.
When I get enough money
and
offered.
This script and this plot was the right story.
So the director is back did the original, Roland Emmerich?
Our favorite world-destroying director.
He did also Day After Tomorrow.
2012.
Did he do, what was that movie with John Cusack?
2012.
Oh, that was 2012. Did he do BC?
No limo.
BC? I think he did that too.
1000 BC or 10,000
yeah,
BC?
I think that was him too.
Oh, okay.
But he loves, dude can
destroying the world.
I mean, he does a good job. These movies,
looks great in this
it's
movie,
destruction porn. I mean,
yeah,
it's just like, no, what's interesting, about this movie too is that they brought back almost all the cast, pretty much, except
greedy Will Smith.
Well, he wanted money. They gave it to Emmerich. That was the problem. Okay, so that's what the movie's about. Essentially, the aliens that we defeated in the first movie are back, and they're pissed off, and it plays into that. Again, I like the fact that they brought back all of the old characters, so you get a lot of nostalgia. Now, we'll talk about it when we do our review part, but let's put our hands out.
All right.
Okay, so now that everybody knows what the movie is. Thumbs up, great movie. Thumbs to the side, good movie. Thumbs down, bad movie. 1, 2, 3. Really? You put your thumb up? I was not expecting that. All right, mine's to the side. I think it's a good movie. Gerald thinks it's a great movie. So tell me, Gerald, without spoiling it, why is this a great movie? Why would you?
All right, I'm not going to put this in the same realm as other great movies like Empire. It's not Oscar worthy by any means.
No, of course not.
Not even close.
But it's not trying to be.
Yeah, that's not what makes this a great movie. What makes this a great movie is the fact that it's self-aware, that it's a little ridiculous.
Yes, it is.
And I feel like, when's the last time you saw the original Independence
Not
Day?
too long ago, probably about a year or so ago. I saw it was on like FX or something, and it looks bad. It does not date well.
How dare you? Because Sarah and I watched it Friday night after the Shallows when we got home, so we can prepare, get all of the canon in line, right?
So dumb.
And that movie's great. It's
a fun.
good.
It's definitely a fun movie, but it's a time capsule. This movie,
yeah.
This movie feels like a time capsule. Like there are parts of this movie that I'm like, nobody does this anymore. Like it's a 90s thing that we used to do, and we don't do it anymore for like partly good reason, but because the movie like doesn't it lives off of that, if that makes sense. Like it's playing off of the fact that they bring up 1996 like at least a dozen times.
A lot of times, yeah. We get it. Yeah.
Right, and like a lot of these like because there's a whole new cast of characters too, and like they're all like super young, so it's like, were you even around? And I tend to think to myself, I'm like, do you think the general audience of 20 somethings are gonna go watch Independence Day? I don't know.
I don't know either. Because I mean, they're obviously drawing on the fact that the last one was such a big movie. But what I was going to say is the original movie, a lot of like these things that made it real corny, like "Welcome to Earth."
Yeah, the iconic
That's what
one-liners.
I call a close encounter. Will Smith one-liners.
Yeah, exactly.
I think they meant it to be serious, but over these 20 years, now it's corny. But that's why we like Independence Day, is because it's corny.
Because in the 90s that was cool.
Yeah,
it was cool. Like Will Smith kind of is the harbinger of the awesome one-liner. I mean, now show him your badge. You know what I mean? Like no one talks like that, and
So they took that, being like, you know what makes our old movie good is because it's corny. So we're gonna make this whole movie
pretty corny,
which is excellent because I think they pulled it off.
They did pull it off. I would say the reason it's not a great movie is because it's not trying to be. It was never, for me. It does a good job. It's a fun roller coaster. I think the special effects in this are insane. But I remember in the first movie, like the aliens weren't like. They were the technology for doing the aliens didn't look that great. I mean,
I was actually going to mention this. Like the old one was almost like kind of like a monster movie where you didn't really see the whole or the
you just saw the
capabilities.
head,
you see the head, the little tentacles every now and then. You see the aliens full force in this movie.
Yeah, you do, and that's just I think a product of just technology.
And the CG it does make them look great.
Yeah, the movie looks fantastic. Goldblum does a good job. Like Goldblum needs to start doing more movies again because I enjoyed him thoroughly. I thought he did an excellent job. Like. He plays.
I'm really hoping he'll be back for Jurassic World 2.
Maybe, but I don't know how he does it, but like when he's just like looking at something, his eyes like shift. Like he pulls the Goldblum even when he's not trying to.
Have you seen any of his like weird Tim and Eric stuff?
No, he's super awkward. I watched him on like he was on Portlandia a lot, and he's hilarious on that. But the things I didn't like about this movie, there's a couple things. One time, there's a couple plot holes that it's like what?
Wait, just a couple.
No, and I'll get to it in the spoiler specifically when I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like a lot, like for me, it's like almost broke the movie. I'm like, what? And then they introduce way too many characters. It's the same problem with like a lot of movies these days. It's just like, okay, so we have to have the old characters because everyone likes the old characters.
The comic relief.
But we have to have those guys. And then we introduce these new characters. Which is fine. You can have a couple new characters, and they almost play the same part. Like
you're gonna have the young, hotter versions of the original characters,
right? But then they introduce like halfway through the movie, like there's a whole thing with like little kids. Like what? Like that was a completely.
Well, it's just something for his line, his storyline.
No, but it's completely wasted. There's so many times in this movie where I was like, why did they leave that in?
Yeah.
Why did they leave that in? And there's like comedy that's not funny anymore that they try to get away with back like in the 90s.
It was corny.
I know, but it's like
corny stuff is already like 50% chance you're going to get a giggle out of it.
There's a meter, right? It goes from like corny and then it gets into cringe land, right? And it's just like, oh, why did you do that? Like there's a couple times where I was just like, and there's some plot lines in this or plot things that they do that I'm like, really? Like we're gonna do that? Like one of the characters that's in the original movie, like one person's gone crazy and another person's in a coma. I'm like, are we gonna just check off all like the things that every like daytime reality or not daytime, like daytime soap opera does? Like, oh, you woke up from a coma and like there's symbols everywhere. And it's just like this is so paint by numbers and like. Okay, so now if you haven't...
All right, go see the movie. You're going to like it if you like the original Independence Day.
I would still go enjoy... It's a good popcorn...
Oh, definitely.
Roller coaster ride,
if you're
sci-fi.
Expecting great plot, super serious, this is not your movie. It's still better than Batman vs. Superman.
No, stop it. Why do you have to pick on that movie anymore?
Go check it out. It's great.
Okay, so now for the next... Now we're going to move ahead about 5 minutes because I'm going to give ourselves about 5 minutes to talk about spoilers. Okay. Here we go. Spoilerland. Okay. The problem I have with this movie, first of all, like I said, the corniness is fine, and some of the one-liners are even bad for 90s. He's not
Will Smith though, man.
He's not. He cannot. He does not have the gravitas of Will Smith.
Can't do it. He tries though.
He tries, and then they're like, add a curse word. That'll make him more edgy. I'm like, stupid.
Really quick, one of the funniest parts of that, like he's like Will Smith's son.
Yeah.
Is he goes to his locker and sees the picture of all three of them.
Yeah.
From Independence Day, like the original one, but it's like the kid looks nothing like him.
Yeah, I know. It's so bad.
Like I told Sarah, like. That guy looks nothing like me. What is this?
Yeah, none of this makes sense. I was adopted.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's a couple parts that I really, really disliked about this movie. Okay, this whole plot line with the whole I'm guessing that's somewhere in, where did they say it was?
Africa.
In Africa.
I forgot what country though, but yeah.
Yeah, but he's going to like some kind of UN embassy thing. He's going out for the Earth's space defense or whatever.
Yeah.
And there's like this giant ship in this hole and he's like, whoa, how deep does this go? I'm like, it's been here for 20 years. You guys didn't think to investigate any of this? Like, that's the part that broke it for me. I was like, okay.
Because he was sent there because the warlord is just now opening the lands.
Okay.
That's why. Because it turned on.
And
so all that time in the 20 years, they kept the land off from other people snooping around and stuff.
Yeah.
Because it's their land.
It's
so that's why he didn't
alien ship that nearly killed all of humanity. I don't care.
Just saying. The world has it, David.
The world has united, and we can't.
Filled.
No, that's no.
Literally.
No. I don't mind the mantle core. I don't mind that. It was so paint by numbers when they shot down that alien at the beginning. I was like, that was the alien that was going to help us.
No, yeah.
It's like really like you don't have to play it that strong because even like
my thing was like when Jeff Goldblum was like, I don't think we should do this. It's like this is the guy, right?
Yeah,
that he's the leader of he's the director of the EDC, the Earth Defense, whatever. Listen to the guy. Don't you think he knows? I mean, he's a director for a reason.
No, I know, but
that was stupid.
Shoot it, we're in America.
Yeah,
it's just like it's so stupid. That's why I really had a big problem with this movie because it was so like, okay, I already know what's going to happen. They're going to cut that thing open, and that's going to be the good guy that saves us.
Yeah.
And then like these aliens are so smart, and no one's ever killed a hive queen. All we did was just.
Yeah, it was like no one's ever done that before. It's like she's right here. We found it's really hot, so that's her. Let's go do it.
No, but it's not even that. Like the part where the ball or whatever says, "Oh, no one's ever killed a hive queen before," and then it's like we pulled like a Benny Hill, like and like, "Oh, get her to follow you," and then blow it up.
Well, the whole plan was just to shoot it a lot, right? To break down her shields.
Yeah, it's just part of the movie was just like, ugh, like it's just so stupid. But I will say that the characters that they introduce are enjoyable. They're fun. I like the beginning part with the tugs or whatever they're called. That was cool. I like the technology that we integrated with ours and like how everything flies. But it's just...
It was kind of cool seeing that's the president's daughter. Because you're like, oh, that's the little girl.
Yeah. Bill Pullman actually, I think, did a good job. I thought he was actually pretty good in this. But generally, this just has a lot of... Like I said, it's not trying to be more than what it is.
It is a lot of the first movie. It's the ship at the end flying up the thing to blow up the thing.
So stupid. And then it's just like all these one-liners, and he like shaves, and now he's like a fighter pilot, and it's like so stupid.
Dude, the ship landing. Oh my god, when they back up on the Earth and see the ship landed, and it's just like
on top of the Earth.
It's like a third of the planet, just like.
Yeah, but
just imagining the amount of like, because they show like the legs or whatever the ship pressing down. It's like destroying a whole continent. It's hilarious.
Yeah. Okay, so that's our spoiler. Again, you can now if you can come we're out of spoiler territory. It's like I said, the destruction alone, just the technology of how it looks awesome.
Yeah, the CG's excellent.
Yeah, it's excellent. So go see it for the CG. Okay, so that's our thing of the week. We got Independence Day, which is kind of funny. We should have saved it for next week with our America episode.
I'm definitely going to see a movie. I think in the next month and a half, there's a movie I want to see every weekend, like an opening. So.
Okay,
I'll have stuff.
So we'll have the standard review, and it'll be different things each week. This week it's a movie. Maybe next week it'll be a board game or a video game. We'll see. We'll figure out something.
It is summer blockbuster season, so maybe a lot of movies.
Yeah, actually, I wanted to. You were saying Dory might still overtake.
Oh, it's confirmed.
Really? See, that's interesting. Dory is. They're making Pixar, man. We spent the whole freaking 2 podcasts. They should pay us some money.
Talking about
Fortnite. All right. So the other thing I wanted to bring up, we're going to now have our news story of the century.
Of the week.
This week I wanted to bring up a very important story. This is I know it because my bank knows about it, the Steam summer sale.